Hey, this is Ken Casey from the Dropkick Murphys, and I love the Grandstanders! Take it away, kid!
Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's Milton's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, first of all, we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. We are in our best garb.
Christmas pageant clothes.
And no, it's not hot with these on at all.
No. They don't make them large enough for my squash.
Yeah.
Even in Little League, they had to order a special half.
These are relevant specials.
This is our fourth annual holiday show. And
Yes.
And Russ, you feel more and more comfortable with your
I
outfit.
love this show. It's my favorite show of the year.
I've never
Can't you
seen
tell?
you so paid. So
Yeah.
now I know what Russ looked like when he had a colonoscopy.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, boys. When we start our show, this just into the news desk.
All right.
The Patriots, our homework assignment for each week, watching the Patriots game. They lose 17-10. First of all, we have to give props to Joe. He
Oh, my
actually
goodness.
called the score.
But didn't have the winner.
But had
Did not have the winner, but you called the score, which
You
is pretty
did.
remarkable.
He called the
because-
game.
Yeah,
I mean, low scoring. I don't think you're probably the only one on the planet that had
especially
that
after what 5 minutes, it was already 7-7.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And the over/under, I think,
look-
was 53 or something.
Looked like it was going to be a track meet.
Yeah, it sure wasn't. Are we having any fun yet, boys?
Yeah.
Because this is as painful as a season, a regular season that I can remember with the Patriots since our Super Bowl victory in 2001.
Even the victories have not been exhilarating, other than maybe the Chiefs
Well,
game.
like you keep thinking, okay, are we there? In the Minnesota game, maybe gave us a glimmer of hope. Okay,
Yeah.
we're back on track. It's the old Patriots start slow. December comes along. The first time we've had 2 losses in December since I can't even remember.
Look, Brady has said for years the season doesn't start until Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Our season has not looked very good since Thanksgiving. has
However, though, the Miami loss should have been a win.
Okay, yeah, but
So-
it wasn't.
It wasn't. I know.
The season feels like. Do you remember when you were when you have jobs and give you a 2-week notice? And it's that 2-week
You're
time.
playing it out.
The 2-week time before you leave,
Yeah.
and you're not really giving it your all and stuff.
Yeah.
This kind of feels like the season. All we're waiting for is the final results for the final game.
Well, I just keep hoping that this is that Brady's sandbagging. Like, remember Bill Russell did in his final season?
Yeah.
Sandbagged, finished in the last playoff spot, and then rolled
Oh
right
my
through.
God! Isn't
Oh,
that
no,
typical?
no,
That's what we hear.
no,
every
That's what
year.
I keep hoping for.
The Patriots have this secret plan, and they're not showing things.
I heard a nut caller station today, and he was saying that we're Belichick saving the plays for the
No.
playoffs.
No. He's using everything he's got at
Here's
his
what's going to
disposal.
happen, and this is sure as the day is long. This is what's going to happen. We're going to win our next 3 home games because we're actually a very good home team.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay,
We're
right.
going
To
to beat
this
the
point,
Jets.
we're
We're going to
going
beat
to
the
be
Bills,
able to
right?
not move before the snap
and
at
we
home.
are we're gonna win the first home game in the playoffs because again we're
Are we
really
gonna
good at
get a
home.
bye?
We're going
Are
to
we
get a
gonna get a
home
bye?
game. I don't know.
No,
But
I
most
think we
likely-
might.
But here's
Well, I
the
mean-
problem. Here's the problem. We're going to get this wave of optimism throughout New England, right? Because we've won our last 3 games.
Yeah.
And we're going to be going into Houston or wherever we're going to be going in, and everyone's going to convince themselves that somehow we're a legitimate.
They'll pull a
playoff
rabbit
team.
out of the
And
hat.
we're not going to win on the road because we're 3-5 on the road. And the only legitimate road game we won was against Chicago.
And that one
Yeah,
almost was
it's
a
going
loss,
to be very
too.
similar to the loss to Peyton Manning when he was in Denver at the
Right.
AFC Championship.
But we're
we
going to
convinced ourselves.
We are all going to be optimistic once they win their next 3 home
The
games.
only saving
Yeah, that's a great point.
hope that we might have is it seems like nobody is immune to losing in the NFL this year.
I know, but we're a bad team.
We
We are a
can't
bad team,
get
but it seems
around
like
that.
the rest of the league is a bad team also.
So, but we'll be playing on the road. When we play on the road, we go down
Exactly.
to
It's
the
almost like the Celtics in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Who's got the home
That's
field
right.
advantage?
We're specifically bad on the road. That is a very bad thing to be if you're a playoff team. Unless you're the number one seed.
The 3rd and 9, the final, the play before obviously the Steelers, kicked the field goal, but the 3rd and 9 that they converted at the end of the game, the biggest play defensively of the Patriots season, and that defensive line acted like it was a walkthrough. They had no intention of going past anybody in that, and I was like,
They could have
that's
won the
season.
game right there.
That's the season. Nobody gave any effort in the most important defensive play of the season. Would you agree?
Well, I think the problem is sort of systemically is that because we're so slow, we're playing like 6 defensive backs all the time.
Yeah.
And we can't stop the run. And that's
Right.
what happens when you're trying to make up for a basic lack of talent, which is speed. You start doing goofy things defensively, and then teams exploit them.
I feel like when I'm watching and it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and I have no faith in the Patriots defense at all. Right. None.
It's so weak up the middle.
I just expect the other team to make the first down. Now, on the reverse side, when we have 3rd and 8, now 3rd and 7, I feel like I know we're not going to make it.
Well, that's the thing.
a great
The
point,
last
Tim.
2 weeks, the offense has let us down. We were ragging on the defense, and they deserve all of it. But the drop passes this year and the drop passes this week, and Julian Edelman, who apparently is tied for the league lead in drop passes.
and he spotted everyone 4 games.
He was jammed up for the first 4 games for whatever he was doing.
He's always had some drop problems, but he's had more drop problems this year than I can remember, right?
Josh Gordon dropped one. Hey,
Big
why
ones.
wasn't Josh Gordon on the field for the last
As
play
soon
of
as
the
he
game?
dropped that one, he
was
never
off
went
the
back
list.
to him again. Never, not a
He
single
was
other
off
target.
Santa's Christmas list.
Okay, so this just in. Uncle Joe, and it's true, could rush. I'm going to ask this question.
I'm better than Lawrence Guy.
Uncle Joe could rush for 140 yards against the New England Patriots.
I could.
The holes are a mile. The holes are a mile
again,
wide.
we're playing all these defensive backs, and we're not tough enough up the middle. And I have to give Joe a ton of credit. Well before the season started, he said our biggest problem defensively is going to be that front 7. And we thought, at least on the defensive line, that they may have gotten better from last year.
Because they
look
look pretty
Malcolm
good in the
Brown and
They
they're
looked pretty
terrible.
good in the exhibition
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
We were pretty amped up. They looked like they had some depth.
Joe
and
was
stuff.
right.
They
had
beat up
nothing.
on the rookies pretty good. Yeah.
He was right.
So there's acquisitions. When you got people in the fans and the media screaming and yelling, we need to have Danny Shelton back. There's a reason they didn't dress him for the last 3
Yeah.
games.
If he's that bad.
Because he stinks, and he's another pickup from the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
That I know we gave up a 3rd-round pick. We get a 5th-round pick
Yeah.
back. We thought that was going to be so great because, of course, Cleveland was going to be so bad.
Yeah.
Now the deal doesn't even look that good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, now Cleveland is going to be
The defensive players that they brought in the offseason
Claiborne?
have not
Oh,
paid
that
off.
Claiborne.
It just comes back to our missing in the draft on good defensive
that's
players.
right.
Are you telling me somewhere that there wasn't in the 2nd round, 3rd round, like some legit defensive linemen?
or
We're
a
just-
linebacker
totally
who
agree.
can run
It's
something
such a
quicker
glaring.
than a 5.
It's such a glaring need.
Or what
why,
about
why
us-
aren't we addressing it? In all of the land, all of these college football players, we can't find some decent players.
Well, I wonder if he has known what he has this year, and that may be one of the reasons why he first off accumulated a bunch of picks and then didn't trade him. I just wonder whether this is a little bit of a retooling year.
It is.
Because
It's a
they did
rebuilding
not
year.
go out and plug gaps like they normally plug them at the trade deadline, right? Last several years, they've plugged a gap. They need a linebacker. They brought in Van Noy. They brought in these guys. He didn't do that this trade deadline.
Look, Russ, they tried to trade Gronkowski at the draft.
but-
I mean, that would
that's
be taking
another great
It would have been
point.
for draft picks.
I just wonder whether they took a look at this roster and the age of this roster and knowing that Gronk was going to
They
be
need a
cycling out, that they need a influx of better players. They need to retool. And I don't want to say they're content to let this year go, but they didn't move heaven and earth
No, they
to
didn't.
max out this year, right?
So that goes against everything that we're saying. This Brady window.
Right.
Okay, we have to win with Brady. We have to win with Brady. Let's wait till Brady's
yeah.
over with before we start a rebuilding
So,
process.
Timmy, maybe they thought, maybe Belichick thinks the Brady window is over. That's
Yeah.
why he wanted Jimmy G instead of Tom Brady on
Yep.
his team.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to pull that plan off.
He
Mr.
wasn't.
Kraft
Thank
said no.
God, because
But Russ
we'd,
is
we'd
right.
be using our third string quarterback right now because Jimmy G's on the bench.
That's
But
right.
Russ is right. They didn't look at poor Patrick Chung out there. He's running around. He looks like he has one leg. He can barely get around out there, and there's no help for him.
You got Devin McCourty's having to make a lot of tackles in the close to the line.
That doesn't help your run defense too, because Chung was a good run stuffer from the safety position.
Well, we always talk your worst teams, and we've seen some bad teams in the Patriots over the years. When you have Tim Fox, remember his name from the
Oh,
past,
my gosh.
leading the team,
Greatest late hitter in football
Yeah,
history.
leading the team in tackles. I think remember for a couple of years in a row.
It's not good.
Those are bad
a bad
teams, and this is as bad a defense as I've ever seen the New England Patriots have. All right, so boys, we were kind of hopeful about the Philip Dorsett sighting. I don't know, probably a month ago, right?
Yeah.
But he's absolutely disappeared as
Again.
any kind of option. I don't
Again.
even remember the last time Brady even threw to Philip Dorsett. Why is that?
Well, I think last game he turned Gordon into the invisible man too.
Yeah.
Because as soon
Josh
as
is doing some weird things offensively.
He
I
sure
have to
is.
say, it just doesn't seem like they got some mojo running the ball, couple drives in the second half, and then they just stopped running it.
he's like he's trying to fit a square peg into the round
That's
hole.
right, Joe.
Was the last 4 plays of the game unexplainable?
Yeah.
Literally, they did the same play as if it was some kind of Hail Mary almost.
And it
for
just
4
every
plays
time he
in a
threw
row.
off the back foot.
And does Pittsburgh, are they defensive backs? Are they the greatest defensive backs in history? Because they
No.
were on our guys like glue.
Yeah.
Like nobody was close to being open.
You think nobody has confidence? None of the coordinators and coaches have any confidence in
In
these
this team?
players right now.
Well, you know what? I don't watch closely enough to know whether receivers are getting separation or not. That seems to be but what you read is that guys are having trouble separating, getting themselves
Now-
open, and making Brady throw into tighter windows.
Now, when I would go to the games, and you don't really see this on television, Brady used to throw to a spot, you know. You were there, and he was throwing 4 feet to your left. He was throwing to where you were going, not where you are. And that was the difference between Brady and, say, Michael Vick. If you were open, Michael Vick had a better arm. He'd get you the ball.
Yeah.
Brady used to throw before the break, and, you didn't need a lot of separation because the ball was being delivered to you, and there was nothing the cornerback
But
could
he's
do
not
about
doing
it.
that
He's
now.
not doing
No,
that.
he's not
He's
doing
not
that.
making those
pulling
throws.
the string earlier.
Okay, boys, we have said before that Bill Belichick only wants to coach the guys that he likes. Okay, well, it looks like, Bill, you
Bunch
got
of
it.
schlubs.
You got it. All these guys, definitely,
Yeah.
he likes them. He likes them because they're so lucky to be in the league.
Yeah.
They're happy to do whatever Bill says. Would you agree to that with that?
That's what he's been saying, and I think it kind of goes back to the point Tim made, which is he's drafting and acquiring guys that he likes, who he thinks are probably smart and passionate about football, but that can't replace a guy who can run a 4.2 40.
Yeah, right,
Or
exactly.
give me a linebacker who run a 4.6 40.
And we got rid of the guys that
Which
could.
the league is lousy with linebackers who can run
Great
4.6,
middle
4.5,
linebackers
4
now. Every
40s,
team's got one.
right?
Yeah.
Let's look at the
And we
good
don't have
defensive
anybody.
guys we had that we got rid
Chandler
of.
Jones.
Yeah.
Well, he'd kind of look pretty good on the team
Look
right now,
really
right?
Jamie Collins.
Jamie
maybe, too.
Collins?
Yeah.
And I know, and he jettisoned them because they weren't passionate enough or
They
they
would
didn't
look
like him.
darn
Oh
good
my
right
God,
now
are you
on
kidding
that
me?
Logan
defense.
Ryan would look good right now on this team,
So
right?
just think of those two names, Jones and Collins.
Yeah.
What
Jones
would you
has
give
led
to
the
have?
league in sacks every year.
What would you
since
give
then.
to have those two guys on that team right now?
And exactly what Russ says, super athletes.
But
Super
would they-
athletes
would
that
they
we don't
been a-
have.
Would they have been able to pay him the $15 million a year?
Other teams pay him.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
so,
exactly.
so we don't have a star, so we have a bunch of mediocre guys who are getting trampled right now.
Look, his legacy of building this dynasty over 20 years has been, it's been he wants to have a thriving middle class on the team. He wants depth and a bunch of middle class guys. I think it's caught up with him because his middle class players aren't playing like they're middle class guys. They're playing
they're
like
lower class guys.
Yeah, and that's really the problem. Is that guys who were supposed to be good, solid players like Claiborne or Shelton,
They're practice
they're
squad
practice
fodder.
squad guys.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
All right, so
Russell.
boys, I have a prediction, and then, my sources. Can you guys give me any props over who called the
Only
Joe
when you
Kelly?
wear in the hat.
Who called the Joe Kelly
Are
signing?
we on the Red Sox already?
No, who called the Joe Kelly signing 6 hours before
You
it was
did.
announced? And I'm almost dead right.
And you didn't even have the
Three-
Swami
Wait,
hat on
wait!
either.
I sent a press release out. You didn't see it.
Yeah, what was the Swami
Are
hat?
you gonna
can't
give me
believe you
credit?
didn't see that.
Are you gonna give me credit?
I just gave you credit
Okay,
20 seconds
thank-
ago.
All right,
We've
there you
lost
go.
the Swami
All right,
hat.
so
Where
now
is
here's
it?
another prediction, and this is going to take a little time. My sources tell me the same people who told me about Joe Kelly.
Oh, God, this
yeah,
should
these
be
are
good.
huge sources.
Coming out of the West
Yeah,
Coast.
now, right, all of a
This
sudden,
would be his son on the internet.
Yeah.
the big acquisition by the New England Patriots in the offseason will be Derek Carr, the quarterback from the
I
Oakland
like it.
Raiders.
John Gruden,
Yeah,
first pick in the draft, gets the quarterback he wants.
Gruden, right.
Carr is expendable.
But the first
And
pick
Gruden
is
and
not
Carr
a
do
quarterback.
not get along. And
Yep.
Gruden wants his team. He wants his quarterback. And he likes these young
Carr
guys.
be a perfect system quarterback.
But the number one pick is projected. The top 3 picks are projected to be
defensive
defensive
players.
linemen.
Okay, but so with that, Carr would fit awful nicely.
so he
in the
makes a
next-
trade. Makes a
the-
trade.
the-
He
so
builds more.
So if the top quarterback is until the 4th pick, is he better than Derek Carr?
Oh, but Timmy, we know that's going to change before draft
Oh,
time.
John
the
Gruden
quarterbacks,
thinks he can develop quarterbacks.
Yeah.
the quarterbacks
look,
always go first.
I
the,
think that
the
it-
Wentz's and the Goffs of the world.
The
Always.
interesting thing about this is it does seem like Carr would be the kind of guy who would do well as a Patriots quarterback, meaning Brett Belichick and McDaniels would ask him to do the things that he can do instead of probably a bunch of coaches
Yeah.
have asked him to play the game in a way that he can't play.
Well, you got to remember when Brady started. Brady was the dink and dunk pass for his
Right.
first
Yeah.
5 years.
he-
here.
he-
They
the
figured out what he
assistant quarterback.
could do, and they built a
He
system
was
around
more of a
him.
game
And then-
manager than a
J.R.
than
Redmond,
anything.
he was like his best
Right, and then
receiver.
as he developed, they gave him more and more things that he can do, and then he turned out to be a much higher end
The
player
year
than we
he won his
thought.
first Super Bowl, he wasn't throwing the
Yeah.
ball. He wasn't throwing
Be-
more
No,
than 10
just
yards.
management.
I think it's a very interesting idea. It's somewhat similar to remember the offseason, I was ringing the bell for Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I was
right?
just gonna
Like,
mention
those
that,
are the
yeah.
kind
I'd
of
still
guys.
give him a
right?
shot.
Little small. He's only like 6'1", 6'2". Carr's a bigger body.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, but he's
bigger
a
body guy.
major
You know,
upgrade.
you know
over
if we do get
Bridgewater.
a guy like that, we're going to have to say goodbye to these quarterback-friendly contracts.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Those
although-
days are gone. When
yeah,
Brady
they are.
leaves, that luxury that we've had of him
Unless you
taking-
draft a guy. I mean, unless
Well,
when Brady
Carr
leaves,
may be
you're-
signed to a big deal. I'll have
I
to
think
check
he's
that.
signed already, and it's a chunky deal. It's not a high end deal, but it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
He's like in the middle of the pack of the already been paid quarterback.
All right, so boys, we got to get to the Celtics, so we got to do predictions. We're playing the Bills this week, and if the Patriots, first of all, my 9-win prediction season is
Yeah,
still
it's gone-
hanging
oh,
in there,
it's-
despite the fact that you keep on reminding me each week that what a terrible
Well,
pick. So
Can I remind you that Tim and Russ and I all predicted 11-5, which
Okay.
will probably be
all right,
the,
but
the final
currently
result.
they have 9 wins. And they've lost the last 2 games. So I wouldn't even start to pump my chest
And it's
until they get
interesting,
to
by the
win
way.
10, Joe.
Yeah.
Come on. One task at a time. All right, boys. The Patriots will lose to the Buffalo
Buffalo
Bills,
Bills.
35-34,
No, not even
and will be
close.
booed out of
Not
the
even
stadium.
close. That's
Joe.
crazy. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, just
I
like-
don't think it's such crazy talk because but I'll go low again. I think that team just isn't playing. 21-17. I will take the Patriots. Though.
All right, Rusty boy.
We're gonna beat them badly, 30-13.
All right, Timmy.
I'm going almost with Joe, 28-14.
Patriots.
Patriots.
You never know with Tim.
No,
We're undefeated
no,
at
we-
home. You know that, right?
I understand, but have you watched the team the last
but
2
we're
weeks?
but we're actually a very good home team, and we're
I know,
a
but
very
The
bad
offensive line
away
is
team.
night and day at home when they have the snap counts.
We'll
This
see.
super
They
offense,
quit.
I thought we had this super offense going in.
The Patriots have quit. I don't know if you noticed
they
that.
can't
All right,
do
we're
it
gonna,
on the silent count for some reason.
They've quit. They quit, and you can't get that back. It's not a light switch. You can't just turn.
You've
it
been
back
so
on.
right in all your predictions on the Patriots
Oh my
all
God.
year long.
I'm so Kelly prediction.
you've been
and it's
on
because
it.
of William the
we were
intern.
talking
We had Nathan
Patriots.
Evaldi 2 weeks ago, and now I've got the Derek Carr. Oh my God, we're so hot in this show. All right, go to the Celtics. They're playing the Bucks on Friday, and I would say this is really a good test of where we are because obviously they were.
Right.
They beat them last time.
They were
That
beating
was a
some
good
poor
game.
teams for that 8-game winning streak. But then again, we needed them to right the ship, so
That's right.
and they had to play the schedule. But the Bucks, who most likely they're going to have to play in the playoffs, will be a huge test.
Yeah, we beat them last time. That was the best win they've had this year.
Yeah, with the
I was at
Toronto
that
win.
game. It was a very exciting game.
But now all of a sudden, Brad Stevens can understand and try to practice with his rotation on
Yeah,
what
look.
what's that's going to look like in the playoffs.
It's a litmus test game, right?
Yeah.
And the chances are, probably looking back, because we said when they were 10-10, they're going to have 10 easy games, and if they're 19-11 when they get the Bucks, we're going to all feel better about them.
Yeah.
The question is, are they not as bad as they were in the first 20 games, and not as good as they were in the last 10? You know,
Right.
realistically, if we go out and beat the Bucks, you're going to start to believe we're as good as we were in the last 10.
I think Brad has got a handle on managing this team now. I don't think he's got it just right yet, but I think he's close enough. Now, Marcus Morris is out tonight, so hopefully.
Oh, is that right?
Hopefully he's healthy.
I
Yeah.
make a smaller lineup.
Brown
with
is
Horford
back.
out.
But you
Out
even
tonight.
said to me last week, it's kind of good actually that one or two guys are
Yeah.
out each game so they can start rotating.
There's
some
only
of
one
these other
ball to
guys.
shoot out there.
Yeah.
Look, there's an approach that they could take the rest of the year, which is most games make sure that one guy's sitting out getting a rest, whether
Yeah.
it's a longer term injury thing like Horford
And
or
I do like
sick.
that. The coach seems to have found. You need some defensive stalwarts in there to go around
Yeah.
with all these offensive forces. I think it cuts down on the the one thing I worry about, they might be trying to overpass a little bit. Like you take the shot, now you take the shot, you take the shot, trying to kind of counter that.
That's been the Boston Bruins for the last 40 years. We talked about worries. Last week we said, okay, this roster is set. And then you watch a game like Detroit that they lost. And not as much as that they lost, but you see a guy like Blake Griffin do anything and everything that he wanted to do on the court, bully the Celtics around all night. And then you're thinking, okay, I know we got Marcus Smart, but we need a bigger guy and a bigger bully to handle these types of
Well,
players.
wouldn't we put Shemi on a guy like that?
Again, Shemi would be undersized
There's
of a
not
guy
that-
like Griffin,
look, the
right?
good
Against the
news
Bucks,
is
you'll see 'em.
the good news is there aren't that many guys that are physically like Blake Griffin in
there's
the NBA.
Kyrie,
Right, but Kawhi and
right.
and Giannis are slider, and that they're sort of you can put Shemi on those guys. We've shown that you could put Shemi and run Morris, but a guy like Blake Griffin, he's sort of one of a
physical.
kind.
He's
I
a
mean, there's
tall
that many
guy.
guys. I mean, I don't know, he's like 6'9", 6'10",
Yeah.
but it's more like he's big and
big as
he's
shoulders,
athletic.
he's-
Yeah. Look, you're right. You can always get taken to the bank by a guy having a great night who's that physically capable, but there aren't that many guys like
No,
him
and
in
then
the
a guy
NBA.
like Drummond gives us trouble too.
Yeah. Drummond always says.
Well, when Al's out, you're thin.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I'm just saying. A guy at the end of the bench that you might need for 10, 15 minutes. I know we're talking about Baines and Tice and stuff, but I think you just need a bigger bruiser. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're talking
Well, how
about
tall is
needs,
Shemi?
Shemi's only
Like
6'7", 6'8".
I'm saying if you talk about needs, and we already agreed that
Yeah,
Trader
but I think
Danny's gonna do
Baines
something
is
at
that
the
guy. That's Baines' job, and if Baines can't stop a Drummond, then that's
Baines picks up too many fouls too quickly. That's unfortunate.
Well, so
with
does
him.
Tice,
You know-
right? I mean,
Who's the German guy there?
Tice.
Tice.
I think he's one of the better defenders in
Oh
the
yeah,
NBA.
but he's like a foul festival.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
walking.
He gets
one-man
more
foul
fouls than
party
anyone else in the NBA, faster than
per
anyone
minute.
else.
He's
He
right.
seems like a good guy to put on a guy
Yeah.
like that.
Well, the referees don't give him a.
Well,
much
you would
of a
hope
chance.
his second year, and remember he was injured, for part of the year last year. They
Yeah.
think that as the year goes on, the referees become a little more comfortable with him. He's a
Yeah.
second-year player that they'll call.
Don't
less.
treat him like a rook. So
I do
much.
like this Celtics team, and I have high hopes for them.
So Marcus Smart is actually shooting 39% from the field. Doesn't
Lights
sound good,
out, Marcus.
but that is far and away his best percentage
Oh, yeah.
in the history of his career. I would venture to say, boys, and he started slow, would you agree? But
Yeah.
he's having his best season of his 4-year career.
Look, I think it's not a coincidence that he got his contract, and so the drive for him to go out and put shots up and get his buckets is now over. He's got his
be a
$13
little more
million a year,
selective.
for, and now he can go out and play the role that they want him to play.
So we're not cringing as much as when we say,
doesn't
Marcus,
seem to
no,
shoot as
Marcus,
much
no.
either.
No,
He
he
doesn't
doesn't.
seem to shoot.
That's
5
right.
shots a game. He's taking 5 shots a game.
He used to shoot like he was a shooter.
Right.
Yeah, when you have Kyrie.
Yeah, he
out
thought
there,
he
all
was
these
Steph
guys.
Curry out
Yeah,
there.
he'd be throwing him up like he was Kyrie, and every time he'd attempt to shoot, 35,000 people groan no.
Yeah. Oh, it was
So
funny.
I would say that he's grown up.
He plays.
more
He
disciplined?
plays phenomenal defense. It's a
contagious to
phenomenon
the
watching
team,
that guy
too.
play defense.
It's a funny way of playing defense too.
He plays like
Gets
a
him from behind,
Look,
from
we could use him.
inside.
We could use him at outside linebacker for the
Oh, my
Patriots.
God,
I mean,
absolutely.
he plays
Oh,
defense like an outside linebacker
Yeah.
in the NFL.
I'd put him in the middle.
And like Joe
Right.
was saying, you'll see him come from behind
Yeah.
and strip a guy. He's always
Fun to
thinking.
watch.
The
Sneaking in
wheels
from
are always
the
turning
side,
Fun to
defensively.
watch.
poking people.
And Marcus is doing his talking on the court, not off it.
That's right.
know-
And the other, by the way, the other Marcus. I mean, that guy Morris has been fantastic this year.
I know for Avery Bradley, who is he still in the league?
Yeah. Oh no, they've been talking. He's trade bait for the Lakers.
I never got it. The Avery Bradley talk. I never got it myself. Oh, what a great defensive player!
he was a
is.
nice player.
He might have been. I just
the
never
green
got
team is really overrated. Like, remember,
was a-
Jay Crowder was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
it. Avery Bradley was a dime a dozen NBA player.
But he was a guy who always played well in the first quarter, if you remember.
But he
He'd
was-
light it up in the
But
first
he
half.
wasn't
and
that
then-
guy that was going to win you anything.
No, he was a nice
But
player.
I'll say that
He was a nice
every year
second-string
he improved
guard.
his game. Avery Bradley improved every year.
He
from
sure
the day.
did.
He was
And
a-
it felt like a throwaway deal, right?
He was
Yeah.
a second string guard, in my estimation.
Oh, yeah.
He
Second
wasn't
string.
going to win you any championship. He wasn't going to win you an Eastern Conference final.
Remember that trade was done because they, out of desperation
Out
a
of
little bit, they
contract.
needed to create
Yeah, some money.
enough room to sign Hayward.
Right.
And so they went out and they got Morris, and it, to your point, felt a little bit like a throwaway, or we'll take a downgrade and a player. We got is a guy
He's
who's
playing like an
played
all-star.
borderline all-star level, right?
This year.
This year,
This
but
year.
that's all
He
we
has
care
spread
about.
the
Right?
Yeah.
floor for sure.
Yeah.
Last year, he was a very interesting player, and we just weren't used to the fact that
Last
he
year
had
he was
this,
come in, shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
well, sometimes it went well.
Well,
in the
that
fourth
was his
quarter,
job.
and
Look,
sometimes
there's
it
no
was his
question
job.
that Brad told him last year, when you get in, shoot the ball, because somebody
when
has
you
to
looked
take
at
those
who
shots.
else was on the court with him,
They
you knew
couldn't
he was the
shoot.
only
They-
guy that
Yeah,
could
the
shoot.
rest of the guys didn't want to take the shot.
All right, so boys, all right, I'm not going to be as harsh with Grandpa Gordon Hayward, but he's still Grandpa to me. But I would
Everyone's
venture
telling
to
him to
say
back
this.
off.
Just stick with me. He's just one of the guys in the NBA right now. He's an average player.
He's
If
not
he didn't
all-star
have a
Gordon
$31
Hayward.
million contract, a maximum contract, he'd just be another guy on the roster. Right now, if the way he's playing, who's more valuable on the team? Would you take Tice or Gordon Hayward?
I'd
take-
take
how about
Gordon
Hayward
still.
100
How about this?
times out of 100.
Marcus
Come on.
Morris or Gordon Hayward?
He's
Marcus
running.
Morris,
Oh,
yeah.
I think that's a legitimate
Yeah,
comparison
that's an
because
argument.
of how they've played. But Gordon Hayward is leading now that second unit. He's playing himself into shape. Let's see in March. Can we just at least say?
But right now,
let's-
you would say he's just one of the guys right now.
Tonight
he's
will be a
he's
good
just one of the
test
guys.
because
He's playing.
Phoenix
He's
flies.
Here's the
He's
best
a
way
nice
to put it right
piece.
now. He's a role player for this team right now.
Right, which is
Gordon Hayward is a role player for this team. Marcus Morris is a starting all-star caliber player for this team. We'll see at the end of March where Hayward is in comparison to Morris. We'll see at the end of the year. But you're right. He's a role player, but he's getting better. That's the good news.
okay.
But
He's
the
getting
Phoenix
better.
Suns, it'll be
He's
a
getting
great test
better.
because these Phoenix Suns run
Nah,
like
the Suns
crazy.
aren't really going to be that much of a test.
The only
Like
the weird part is he's getting paid
Yeah, but-
superstar money.
Yeah.
but
I know he did have the injury. There's a lot of
I mean,
quote,
they paid him.
asterisks next to his name. Right now.
they paid him when they thought he was going to be healthy for 4 years.
And
They paid him as a
he made the
as an
team
all-star
more attractive
player.
too for other
Of
people to
course.
come here.
Right.
All right, boys. The Eastern Conference used to always be the weak
I'll tell
sister
you.
to the Western
We've had some big
Conference.
guys coming over.
But
some
all of a
giants coming
sudden, the
over.
East.
Yeah.
Would you agree that the Eastern Conference is deeper
top of the
and
Leonard,
stronger than the
Griffin.
Well,
Western
yeah, I
Conference?
would say the top 5
Yeah.
teams in the East
Yeah.
are
Right.
are right there
At a par with the
at
West.
par with the West. But
The
then the
separations.
drop off to the 6th
Oh, then
is a
there's no
disaster.
depth in it.
Oh, it's a disaster after. And
There's
once you
some
get
tough
past
teams in the East
Indiana,
right now.
once you get past Indiana, it falls off.
The
pretty badly.
Clevelands, the Knicks,
Right.
the Nets.
Right.
Oh,
I mean-
they're awful.
There's some tough teams in the East right now.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, 5 of them.
Any of those 5, I think, when I would add Indiana into it, could win the Eastern Conference.
Right. Well, so this is scary in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
But we are starting to finally get some of the name stars coming this way instead of them
Absolutely.
always signing with the West. Now, LeBron went West, but
Yep.
Blake Griffin's
Jimmy
here
Butler.
now.
Jimmy Butler came back.
Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard now with Toronto.
Yep.
We've had a lot of the big name stars coming to the Eastern
In the long run, it
Conference.
might be good for the Celtics. They might be a little more battle hardened when
That's a
it
good
comes
point.
down to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get out of the East this year, you will have, to your point,
You'll
you will
have some
fought for the
scars.
You'll be
conference.
legit. You'll be
Yeah.
legit. It won't be the blowout, I don't think, that we've seen in the past years.
Oh, absolutely, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to end up playing a lot of.
Toronto has got to win at least one game.
But that's why it's so important. We're right now the 5th seed. Okay, we're kind of
Yeah.
bundled in there, right?
Yeah.
Guys, and once you get to a certain part of the NBA and the NHL seasons, there's usually not much movement for as teams in the playoff seeds. You know, you get to
We've
a point,
made up a lot of
I mean,
ground.
there's an immediacy to winning games.
Yeah,
right
we made
now.
up a lot of ground. We're only 2 games in the loss column behind Toronto right now.
Right.
Right? So that's how far we are. We made up a ton of ground in the last 10 games. Let's see where we go when we start playing the Milwaukees, the Torontos of the world.
So
Well,
these
you
are
said at
important.
Christmas is usually the way it,
Yeah.
it shakes out.
So these are important games. So it's
They
a
are
fun
very
time.
important games. There's no
Yeah,
no
we're going to play
sugarcoating
the
it.
Iron now.
No, it's all fun. All right, boys. Well, that's our show tonight. I want to thank, of course, the boys, and of course, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Of course, the lovely and talented Adrian, who's sick home tonight. So hello, Adrian. Handsome Todd and William the intern. Please check us out on our website at grandstanders.com and tune in on Friday night, Dirty Water Live on dirtywatermedia.com at 9:30 for another Grandstanders Live show. And we'll be back next week on Wednesday night for another edition of the Grandstanders Live. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night. I'm Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night. The elephants are in town.
Here comes the circus.